Like I had someone message me yesterday, oh my gosh, I'm manifesting my ex. I'm manifesting my ex. He's with another woman right now. He has a girlfriend, but I know it in my bones that we're meant to be together. The universe keeps giving me all these signs. The universe keeps giving me all these signs. I just know it. I just know it. Okay, slow down. And then she said something like, he's my soulmate. I just know he's my soulmate. Okay. Just because someone is your soulmate does not mean you're going to end up together. Just because someone is your soulmate, I had a quote recently on this last month. Just because someone is your soulmate doesn't mean they're the one. In every life, you have multiple soulmates that you interact with. Each soulmate teaches you some kind of a lesson. And this whole idea of twin flames, oh, this person's my twin flame, that is all mumbo jumbo, okay? There are not that many bodies to reincarnate to. There are more souls than there are bodies to reincarnate to. So the idea of a soul splitting into two bodies, it's very unlikely. And even if it were to happen, it does not mean that you're supposed to be with this person. So I went through a period where, okay, like this whole twin flame thing, it's true, but I don't think it's a label. And a lot of people like to obsess over this label of twin flames when really you have several soulmates, and then one of those soulmates can be the most appropriate divine soulmate. Now, just because you do meet your most appropriate divine soulmate does not mean you're going to recognize that they're your most appropriate divine soulmate, and does not mean that it's going to work out. Because even though you meet your most appropriate divine soulmate, if you have not done the work and you're not ready for them, either A, you won't recognize them, or you recognize them as someone who's your deep soulmate, you have a relationship, it doesn't work out, then you go, okay, that was not my most appropriate divine soulmate. Okay, and so then you move on and you start looking for the next most appropriate divine soulmate. And that person probably was your most appropriate divine soulmate, but because you didn't do your work and you weren't ready, like it didn't work out. Now, I'm not saying that now you're screwed and now you're not going to be able to meet anyone else. There are plenty of other soulmates, but each one that you interact with, you have to make sure that you have done your own work. And if you meet your most appropriate divine soulmate and you've done your work and they haven't done their work, then also not going to work out. So, all we can do is love ourselves, work on ourselves, not to dismiss the fact that when you're in a relationship, you should be a good person and have dignity and respect and have boundaries for your soulmate, for your partner, whoever you are with, and be open to receiving, be open to learning, be open to surrendering, and not rejecting the lessons, not coming from a place of, oh, I need to control the situation. Because if you need to control the situation, then you still have a lot of work to do. You can say that you are flowing with life, but you are not flowing with life if you are constantly trying to control and create all this friction and swim upstream. And if you say, well, I'm not swimming upstream, I'm flowing with life. Okay, you're flowing with life, everything's going great. A challenge comes up. How do you react to that challenge? The challenge comes up, all of a sudden you feel like you can't keep flowing. That challenge comes up for a reason. So that challenge comes up, how are you going to face that challenge? Are you going to shrivel up and disappear? Are you going to be a coward? Whether you're a man or a woman, you can be a coward. Are you going to say, oh no, this is too much for me, I'm going to go away, I can't handle this? So if you can't handle a challenge, then you shouldn't be in the relationship to begin with. So you have to ask yourself, what are the challenges that are being presented? What are the lessons that are in each challenge? And are you willing to learn the lessons? Are you willing to take in the challenges, to take on the challenges and learn from them? Because if you don't learn, if you just tuck away and numb it down and, you know, tuck it under and put it in a pretty box with a pretty bow and put it on a shelf, if you do that, it's going to come back. It's never going to go away. Even if you move on to a new relationship, the same stuff's going to come up. And the fact that you never worked through the challenge that you were presented with will probably most likely haunt you. No matter how present you are, it's going to come up in some way. So that's really, I think I went overboard with explaining that question, but I wanted to make sure I answered every possible scenario. So every soulmate that you meet, every soulmate is here to teach you a lesson. Not every soulmate is the one. It takes a lot of work to surrender and to understand what are the lessons, what is the karma, and if you're still attached to people from the past, what is the karma? How can you release the karma? And that's another thing that I do through my theta healing sessions during my one-on-one sessions, because it's hard to do in a group setting. So in my one-on-one sessions, I can see, what was your soul contract? I can call in your higher self and you can ask your higher self questions. Why did I meet this person? What is my lesson? What are they here to teach me? And a lot of times that person's energy will gravitate. Like when I had my theta healing sessions, before I became a healer, I would come into the room, and before I even sat down, my theta healer would say, okay, he's right here. He's right here. Your mom is here and he's right here, the spirit of my ex. So even if it's daytime and he's awake, the soul can still, it's still, you know, because it's energy cording, right? And so your energy, your soul, your body's inside your soul. So your soul is much bigger. So it extends out. So even though you could be sitting and having breakfast, you know, at that moment, if your partner is having a session with me, you know, your spirit, your soul can still be present. And I could probably see that you are having breakfast at that time. Like, for example, there was a box of things that I had sent to him when I got back from Europe, because I finally had the strength to like touch this stuff and put it in a box and take it to the post office. And it's funny, the name of the guy was the same name as his at the UPS. And so they cracked some jokes when I was sending that box. So anyway, so when I had a session with my theta healer, she, because I'm like, okay, like I sent it to this address because I think that's where he is now. Intuitively, that's what I felt. And so did he get the box? And so she did a remote viewing and she did see that he got the box and that he's pretty traumatized by it. And he's, you know, pacing back and forth, drinking his whiskey or whatever he's doing back and forth from the kitchen. And he's not taking it lightly. Like it did affect him to see the contents of the box, all the stuff that I sent back. So it's incredible. It's incredible the things that can be done in theta healing, on top of soul fragment releasing, on top of calling in and channeling in your higher self and asking what are the lessons. And if there is karma and you feel like the karma hasn't been completed, but you don't know how to complete the karma, there are ways to complete the karma during theta healing, through theta healing. And there are ways to release any ancestral obligations. Like I released my ancestral obligations that my ancestors had passed on to me. I released them. I feel even more free. I've never been happier because now my free will is more evident. I am more in my power of being able to, not that I wasn't trusting before, but I'm even more trusting now, and I'm just flowing. There's no resistance because all my ancestral obligations have been released. So now that my voice is completely gone, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for tuning in.